Welcome back, and we're so delighted to have you back right here on SA Today. Between 3 and 7 million South Africans could lose their jobs due to the coronavirus and the lockdown. That's according to the National Treasury. The study conducted by the Pan-African Youth Survey found that 47% of young people in the country are intending to start a business in the next 5 years. So to bridge that gap, the Africans United has joined forces with Swiss Alternative Medicine Association in Geneva to research why entrepreneurs fail. Now, to tell us more about this venture, we joined via Skype by the CEO and founder of Africans United, Michelle Ashen. Thank you very much for coming through.
Thank you so much. As we were saying off air and just testing the sound, I don't know how you're keeping it together. Just when I look outside what is going on in our country and seeing young people and what they're going to have to go through, geez, man, I have to fight just to hold back the tears. It is devastating looking at this bloodbath that is unfolding around us.
Yeah, when we talk about young people, I mean, they have suffered a double whammy. I mean, remembering the financial meltdown in 2008, where the markets crashed, which denied them the opportunities for them to be at entry level where jobs were shared. Now come the lockdown, COVID-19, it's another blow to their careers. I mean, like having to do a survey like this and looking at the opportunities of young people wanting to start businesses but likely to fail because of these environmental economic challenges. What really does your survey come up with based on this context?
You know, what we're seeing is that this is not just a human crisis, this is an economic crisis. And if we're going to actually help the young people of today have any chance at a future, we're really, really going to have to go back to the basics and the fundamentals of knowing our place, that we have a common good. You look at the picture behind me, Nelson Mandela had a dream, and he sat in jail for 27 years to talk about and think about that dream. It's like we've lost that. People today need to come together, and we need to start participating to support entrepreneurs and to create jobs. It is really, really difficult. We're in a world that requires a new way of thinking, a really new way of thinking. In South Africa, we're still getting over the trauma that was inflicted upon minority groups as a result of being made to feel as though we're not worthy. Entrepreneurs are failing in our country and around the world because we can't get a grip on our anxiety. You go and you see presentations, you come up with ideas, and we're getting shut down. Our ability to manage our conscious as well as our unconscious mind is a skill that nobody's talking about. And it sounds complicated, but we need to figure this thing out together. We need to start getting into participation for young people today. We can't be passive and sit back and watch the news and look at this bloodbath that is unfolding. What is amazing to me is that an international community have found me. These are entrepreneurial development experts who have over 30 years worth of experience. And what they're seeing is that we need to raise our level of consciousness. Not just see what is going out there in our country, but feel it. Feel the trauma, the panic, the fear, and the anxiety, not just young people, but that all people are going through right now.
But
and
Michelle, if I have to come in there, you know, what you're talking about, this conscious thing is really worrisome when it comes to young people not having access to opportunities. One, many industries outside their townships are closed. They've been shut down. They're not operational. And funding thereof has been diverted. When you want to start a business, you don't have opportunities like anybody who has, the background of coming from a well-off family, having all the resources. Another debate is on business funding. When you have to apply for funding from the banks, it's a tall order for young people to say they want to start a business. When you look at the issue of entrepreneurial literacy as well, many people don't need to be behind the desk in an MBA class to study business. Nurturing talent is a problem as well because of where people are based, the digital device, and all these various challenges. So young people don't have excuses. They want to do this. Do you think that they have an enabling environment, politically, socio-economically, for them to not make excuses, but to make it as people who are not previously disadvantaged, but presently advantaged?
No. We don't support young people enough. There is a whole lot more that can be done. And this is where I look at an international community like the Presencing Institute. The brave work of Otto Sharma has really revealed to business and organizations, they do a lot of the work for the UN agencies. And they've pointed out a very, very clear concern that if you look at what's going on in the world today, there is a clear divide between us and the earth. There is this ecological divide, which is really saying that we're in a water scarce country, but we're still taking long hot baths. We wait for the SABC to tell us we must be on water restrictions. The second divide that we have is around the social divide. We get in the car and we just ignore inequality and we don't participate in creating jobs. And then there is the cultural or the spiritual divide, which is the divide between who I am today and who I could be tomorrow. That's why you see young people drinking, getting drunk, taking drugs, because the possibility of who I could be is so scary. And that's why I'm getting so involved with the Presencing Institute and participating in this global forum and holding hands with this international community who are saying how we are going to eradicate poverty is through social entrepreneurship. So we're developing frameworks and methodologies to identify courageous, young social entrepreneurs who can be supported. Because in South Africa, it's almost like you have to pay to get support. I appreciate that money is scarce, but there is also ways that we can create and innovate. I mean, this international community that's working with me, we're doing it after hours. I have a day job, and we're creating and innovating every single day. And if it's the last thing I do before I die, I mean, it sounds like a big, hairy, audacious goal, but I can't sleep at night knowing that people are dying out there.
Okay, very briefly, Michelle, I mean, like one risks being a devil's advocate here. I mean, like if young people are faced with only the 350 rand a grant, whereas when it comes to SME development, it's something that is really far-fetched for them to really take advantage of. How do you then come up with innovative measures and also to face the new normal post the lockdown at COVID-19 to say that these young people will be having these dreams of their businesses realized?
So this weekend, I'm going to be launching the Global Hub on the Presencing Institute. So for young people who have access to the internet, I'd encourage you to join our community. If there's one thing that I've learned throughout my life is that we learn through dialogues. Kind of dates back to the conversations between Plato and Socrates. And this is where all the wisdom is really stemming from. It's written in the texts. And it comes back to Africa, which is so beautiful that we're busy doing. And as for the 350 Rand, between me and you, I am not scared to knock on doors to try and get funding because what we're talking about is sustainability. It's ESG. The fundamentals of what we're talking about is building a country, a continent, and a world that is sustainable and equipping young people with the skills how to do that. It all starts and ends here. It feels like we're in the Truman Show. I'm like, I want to get out of the Truman Show. I don't know about you.
All right. Thank you very much for making time. So much to talk about when it comes to small businesses being key to economic recovery post-COVID-19. And thank you very much for making time and wishing all these young people all the best regarding achieving their dreams. We're going to take a break. We'll be back after this.